The Book of Genesis Part 95. The Book of Genesis Part 95. James Gunn. Chapter 47:1-26. We must now, in the third place, consider the administration of Joseph as it considers his loyalty to the crown, to Pharaoh. His faithfulness to his own father's family and to the Egyptian people has been noticed. He had the keen ability and the warm affection to do what he thought best for all. Loyalty to Pharaoh. It is necessary that we remind ourselves of the powers invested by Pharaoh in Joseph. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, Forasmuch as God hath shewed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art. Thou shalt be over my house, and according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. Genesis 41 verses 39-40. These remarkable and extensive powers were granted because Pharaoh detected almost supernatural talent in Joseph, possessed through the Spirit of God. Executive ability. Joseph had been faithful in the management of Potiphar's household, Genesis 39 verses 1-4, he had been diligent in the position of trust in the prison, now he is promoted to much greater responsibilities. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much, and he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much, Luke 16 verse 10. Moral quality. Joseph was not only highly intellectual but strictly moral. The change from a prison to a palace did not influence his self-control. In his humiliation he carried himself with dignity, in his exaltation he comported himself with humility. Self-discipline was practiced constantly. Spiritual endowment. Joseph is one of the Old Testament worthies in whom it is said the Spirit of God dwelt. See Genesis 41 verse 38, Numbers 27:18, and Daniel 5 verse 11. His spirituality was no hindrance, but rather a help. It activated his mind as well as enlarged his heart. As a token to the public that Joseph had been actually made regent, Pharaoh gave him the signs of rank and authority. The robe and the golden chain were symbols of his rank, and the signet ring a symbol of his authority. A regent is one appointed to rule a kingdom during special and difficult circumstances, as for example, during the minority of the rightful heir, or while the ruling monarch is incapacitated by illness. Such were the many qualifications of Joseph that he acted in the capacity of regent during the years of crisis. Joseph's loyalty to Pharaoh is seen in so many different ways. He certainly believed that the powers that be are ordained of God, Romans 13 verse 1, and that as a child of God he ought to be subject to principalities and powers over him, even although these were represented in an idolatrous pagan. His obedience. Joseph's obedience to the dictates of the ruler is seen in his attitude toward things in general and to things in particular. He was meticulous about details as well as about expanse. He obeyed and undertook the assignment to administer the kingdom. He obeyed Pharaoh in the locating of his father and brethren. His humility. It is said of Joseph that he rode in the second chariot. One has made the comment upon this, only a Joseph could ride well in the second chariot. There is sufficient of the devil in every human heart to aspire higher and to seek the first place. There was no attempt upon his part to usurp authority or to arrogate to himself extra powers. He was perfectly contented to remain in the position given to him by Pharaoh, the position for which God had been preparing him throughout his earlier life. His honesty. What a wonderful commendation is written here by the Holy Spirit. Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, for the corn which they bought, and Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house, Genesis 47 verse 14. He was not like the tax collectors of Rome who exacted for self-profit more than was just. His homage, that he honored their monarch in the eyes of the Egyptians, is very patent. He told them, Ye shall give a fifth part unto Pharaoh, Genesis 47 verse 24. Furthermore, with food he made purchase of all for Pharaoh. Behold, I have bought you this day and your land for Pharaoh, Genesis 47 verse 23. There is really no more admirable character among men than Joseph. While he knew in business that divers weights and divers measures, both of them are alike abomination to the Lord, Proverbs 20 verse 10. David wrote, The godly man saith, For the faithful fail from among the children of men, Psalms 12 verse 1. In this the modern man has not changed. It is therefore a great relief to examine the character, behavior, and performance of this historic Hebrew gentleman.